Hello everybody, it's me again. I just wanted to do a painting for you. First, I want to show you a few that I have done and have been resined. Resin is just a way of finishing it off to seal your paint. It makes your colors come back up and everything. So here's one. I love. You see how shiny it is? If you see, these are some coppers, they're metallics. And this was done, is called a Dutch pour. Alright, and this one is resined as well. It's my take on a peacock feather. I did it with a swipe. I used a barbecue basting brush to do this. Alright, now what I said I was going to do for my first painting video was a dip, because I feel that it is the easiest technique for people learning how to do this. I have these canvases that have been pre-printed that I got from Dollar General that were on clearance and marked down significantly. And I saw you can use these to paint on, so that's what we're going to do. Now, normally you can pour your paint on here, and then you would take your canvas and you would press them together and you would end up with two paintings. Me, I pour my paint on the mat because when it dries, you can peel the paint off and it makes a skin. And the reason why I do that is, as I mentioned before, my husband flies drones and he's wanting to get into making decals for drones. He did one with my paints before, and this is what he got. Pretty cool, huh? So, I'm going to take my canvas here in this nice little bitty skewer. I'm going to dip it in some paint that I got and just kind of mark where the size of my canvas, so that I know the parameters that I need to dip my paint in. Now this is an 8 by 10. As I said, it's already pre-printed, but if you do your paint thick enough and it's on there good, it covers it. You don't see it. So you start laying your paints down on here in between these little dots. I don't know if you can see them, but I want to use up some of these paints that I have. Some of these paints are going to look like, ooh, that does not go together. That's gross. But when you get done, it actually looks really cool. Oh, and by the way, I got these little mats. They're supposed to be cutting boards. They're at Walmart, a pack of 3 for $4 something, and they worked good. It keeps me from having to throw away puppy pads and all this kind of stuff. I reuse them, let them dry, clean them up. Alright, so I'm going to start laying down some paint. And you can just do it in any kind of design your heart desires. You just want to keep it in that parameters that you laid out with those dots to know that you're getting gonna get your whole canvas covered. Alright, I'm gonna scrape out some of this paint, and this is the paint that I poured out of the bottle on my first video to be able to use a bottle to show you how to mix paint in it. So that's about tapped out. Alright, I'm going to let me put this. That was a purple. I don't know if you can see it. I don't remember the names of the paint. I think this was one I mixed up with other colors. I don't remember the colors of these, but this is a light blue that has glitter in it. And just swirl it around. Now I have 2 of these printed canvases, the 8 by 10s, so I'll be able to get 2 paintings out of it and a skin. Pretty cool. This paint right here is a green, and it's a color shifting, so it's like has an iridescence in it. It has a shine and a shimmer, and the color changes when you put it in the light. As you can see, I'm not really having any rhyme or reason to how I'm doing this. This is the blue that I made up earlier. It's a metallic blue. And we just swirl it around. Sing to your paint. Makes it happy. It'll do pretty things for you. Just kidding. And this is just a pink. I'm trying to use up all these colors that I have mixed up because I bought a whole bunch of new paints today while I was at Wally World. Almost used it all. I don't want to put too much. And I want to be able to mix them. Some very pretty colors. All of these. And those. Oh, and that. So I'm going to put a little bit of orange in here. Ooh. Be careful. You get paint all over your clothes. I now have designated paint shirts. Alright. And I'm going to put that was an orange, by the way. I'm going to put a little bit of metallic gold in here. Because I don't have enough shine from the other colors. Alright. Oh. I want to put a little bit of white too. I'm sorry. Just a little. To where when it hits some of these colors, it'll make it, it'll lighten it so you'll have different hues of that color. And this was a white that I had mixed up for a Dutch pour. And I didn't have a bottle for it. Because this, when I do the Dutch pours, I don't normally put the silicone oil in there. So it doesn't create cells. It does more of a lacing. So this is just the Floetrol water and paint. Alright. I'll put a little bit of this turquoise in there too. Just because it's made up. Alright. So now, you take your paint, your canvas, and you want to set it down in there. Like that. You want to press on it a little bit. You can move it around. But you want to try to make sure you press on this to get paint on the whole canvas. Because when you have to fill it in with other paint from the little mat here, it changes the design. It's not as pretty. So let me make sure I get that wiggled around in there. Press down real good. Don't press too hard. You see paint's coming out the side. Alright, so grab a hold to it and lift it up. And there you go. Very pretty. As you can see, there's little colors popping up in there. Those are called cells. Where the little circles of color pop up. That's what that silicone oil creates. Now, let me set this off to the side. All right. This right here is paint that's left over that's still on there. I can do another canvas because there's plenty of paint on there. And like I said, when I'm done dipping my pictures, this dries. I scrape it, pull it off, and it makes a skin. I'll show you what a skin looks like actually. This is where I peel the paint off. And you're able, my husband, like I said, uses a spray adhesive, sprays it on there and puts it on his drones and stuff. But he's trying to do a cooler way and getting some vinyl, attaching it to the vinyl so that if you don't want your drone to have that mark or that painting on it anymore, you can pull it right off. Alright, going in for the second dip. Press on it good. Hopefully I don't have any bare spots. Alright, now you pull it up. And you got your second picture. Now if you compare it to the first one, they're similar but different. So now you end up with two paintings that you can put side by side that are similar but different. And this is what I like, really like about the acrylic painting, the pouring like this and the fluid art, is that you can do the same thing every time. Pour your paint down the same way every time, and it's going to turn out different. Now, I wanted to show you another thing real quick. One of the other things that I've had to purchase for this is this. It's a Bernzomatic torch. I got it at Lowe's. It was like $26. Probably one of the most expensive things. But all you got to do if you buy this is make sure you have your refill for your butane that you fill in there, and this is good. It has worked. What you do with these is it anywhere, because there's paints underneath each other, and if you take your torch and you don't want to touch it and hold it on there, it will burn your paint, but it makes more cells come up. I don't know if you just saw that one right there. I just brought up some. So that's what your torch is for. And then sometimes your paints get air bubbles in it, and before you do anything, you want to make sure that you torch it with that. That'll be in another video, by the way. I'll show you one that I have to do that with. A technique that you have to do that with, and it gets your air bubbles out, because what happens is if you don't pop those air bubbles before it dries, you'll end up with little divots of paint missing, kind of, and it just that makes for an unattractive painting. So what I'm doing right now is there was just a few places where paint didn't stick to the canvas. I'm just kind of filling it in with some of this little bit here. It doesn't really affect your painting as long as you get a similar color, and I'm just dabbing it in there with that skewer. So there you go, a dip. Now your edges, I like to have my edges with the dipping flowing over the sides. You don't get that with doing a dip. So I'll take paint and I'll just touch the sides. One of the great ladies that I watch on YouTube, that I learned this watching her on her videos, she calls it finger popping. She's from Australia, and that's why I thought it would be cute when I did my first video to be like, hello. My girls at work, they know that on days that I'm in a good mood, I'll be in there working and I'll just, hello, how are you? And a few of them will join in with me. It's funny, it makes work interesting. So I'm not going to do the rest of this on camera because I don't want to use up a lot of time. Alrighty, so with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get interested in it. It's so much fun. It's very relaxing, and have fun painting. Alright, have a good one.